See, when you were judging, Harry, did you do the medley judge, or were you just the piping judge, or what was happening?
Well, I was I did a wee bit of ensemble judging at home, but I never did it in Scotland. But in piping, I preferred to judge March the Spain Rain because I knew the tunes. The medleys, especially in the later years, you were hit with tunes that you'd never heard in your life before.
Right.
And they weren't all good tunes to my mind. A lot of unmusical tunes, a lot of finger exercises, a lot of round hornpipes and reel playing, which I detest. As bands still do it. And while I was judging, I penalised them for it. It wasn't right.
So you preferred the dot and cut to this round style. Latterly, I get the impression I couldn't tell a march from a suspense. No, a march, a reel, and a hornpipe apart, depending on the speed they were getting played, and they were all getting played round, and this, that, and the next thing. And your reels and your hornpipes in particular, you know, the way they were expressed, somebody a lot more clever than myself would get it right away like that, you know, that's a hornpipe, that's a jig. But to the normal bystander at the side of the field, and some of them were very, very humdrum. And as I say, I don't know who was composing them. Maybe the computer was composing.
Was it a Sinclair computer by any chance?
But you must have despaired at times at the lack of music and some of the medleys you were listening to latterly.
Well, if I felt a tune was unmusical, I would have commented that there was a lack of melodic content. I remember on one top grade 1 band sheet, I think it was a jig they were playing, and I said, "This is just a jumble of notes."
Uh-huh.
That's all it was. It was a jumble of notes. Again, a lot of bands were guilty of too much harmony, especially in hornpipes and reels. In fact, just this year at one of our local competitions, I heard a band, grade 3 band, I think it was, harmonising on a jig. And the impression I got was somebody is playing an entirely different tune here.
Uh-huh.
There was no harmony. It was just a clash of notes.
Do you think it's because they maybe go and they learn music and they learn how to play guitars and accordions and pianos along with the pipes, and they think they've got a wonderful knowledge of music and how to write music, that just because they can do it, it means that they've got to do it, rather than having the patience just to say, no, that I know I can do it, but I don't need to do it, and I'm not going to.
Now, if you're going to use harmony on a tune, what you need to do is say 4 papers, chunder's well set, right, play the melody, and one say, here's the harmony, and we'll start and go through it. Is there any clash of notes? Can you change it? And particularly, like, let's say B's to low G's.
Uh-huh.
So if it's going to be a B, don't use the low G, use a D. One of the things that we did one of the slurs we played in the band was a wee old Gaelic air, Mary of the Bewitching Eyes. And against the low A, I used an F.
Uh-huh.
And it worked.
Okay.
Okay, instead of using the C, we used an F.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
We just tinkered about what worked and what didn't work.
But you weren't over embellishing the whole thing. You were still allowing the front music to come out, and it was merely decorated in the background by harmonies and counterpoints rather than being overwhelmed by it.
Okay, some bands, I'll not name, but some bands try as well as the harmony, the counter melody. And if you're going to do a counter melody, it has to be very, very carefully thought out. Because that's where you can get a clash. And one or two bands do it very effectively.